Good afternoon, Saitlanders. How are you? We trust that you're well. I've got a couple of things that I want to talk about, but I can't really sort them out in my mind, so I hope this doesn't become an annoying video. Have you seen, do you get this on YouTube? In the suggestions? In the Tik-Tok shorts or whatever they're called? YouTube shorts. The Boney M song, Rasputin. I can't sing to save my life. Let's do here Rasputin lyrics. And I'm sure they'll... okay, so it goes, there lived a certain man in Russia long ago. He was big and strong, in his eyes a flaming glow. Most people looked at him with terror and a fear, but to Moscow chicks he was such a lovely dear. He could preach the Bible like a preacher, full of ecstasy and fire. But he also was the kind of teacher women would desire. Hey, 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 blah, blah, blah. There lived a certain man in Russia long ago. He was big and strong, in his eyes a flaming glow. Most people looked at him with terror and with fear, but to Moscow chicks he was such a lovely dear. Woman would desire, so the verse is repeated. Rah, rah, Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen. There was a cat that really was gone. I have never understood the meaning of that line. Russia's greatest love machine, it was a shame how he carried on. He ruled the Russian land, and never mind the Tsar, but the Kazachok he danced really wunderbar. The Kazachok is that dance that they do like this, where they squat on their haunches and then kick their legs out alternately while holding their hands like that. In all affairs of state he was the man to please, but he was real great when he had a girl to squeeze. For the queen he was no wheeler dealer. Though she'd heard the things he'd done, she believed he was a holy healer who would heal her son. You may recall that Tsar Nicholas II, the last Tsar of Russia, died following the revolution of October 1917, and that his wife had been having an affair with the preacher, the Orthodox monk Grigory Rasputin, and she believed every word that came out of his mouth, and she believed that he had special powers, and that she could heal her son, who was the heir to the throne of all of the Russias. That's how they say it. He had hemophilia. He was a hemophiliac. So from interbreeding, it's a very well-known thing that in many of the noble families of Europe, hemophilia is a problem because of years of interbreeding. The noble families, the aristocrats, the monarchs have continually wanted to breed only with their sort, not with commoners. So there's a shortage of strong blood, of tough blood, as opposed to elegant, refined, noble, just peasant blood, normal blood. There's a shortage of that in many of the best lines of European aristocracy. And so this boy eventually died. He was just very, very weak. He was assassinated along with all of the rest of the family, killed, but the likelihood was that he wouldn't have made it anyway. Russia's greatest love machine, it was a shame how he carried on, but when his drinking and lusting and his hunger for power became known to more and more people, the demands to do something about this outrageous man became louder and louder. And so it goes on, the man's got to go, but the ladies begged, please don't do it, please don't kill our beloved Orthodox monk, Grigory Rasputin, who is having an affair with the queen and what have you. Do you get variations of that in those YouTube shorts? I get about, I was going to exaggerate and say 30, probably 15 a day. There is this craze across the video net You know, the internet, the video portion of the internet, YouTube and I suppose Brighteon, Rumble, TikTok, and so the list goes on. Whoopsie, sorry. Judith, please, man. And the point of this video is really just to chat about this obsession that so many people have. Oh, sorry, I should point out that when the song is sung, it is usually as a soundtrack. It forms a sort of a sound backdrop to videos of Vladimir Putin. So what you'll often have is the song playing, then there'll be Vladimir Putin walking like a man, you know, doing something impressive, riding a bear, riding a horse, kayaking down a river, exploring in a, what do they call him? Those submersibles, deep sea submersible vehicle or whatever. Those small submarines that can go whatever 1,000 meters underwater. So they use the first portion of the song in the short, in the 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 40 seconds. And then, very often, they'll show some youngsters dancing a particular dance. It's not that matrushka or whatever it's called, or matushka, what is the word? The kazachok. It's a new dance. I can't do it. I can't dance to save my life. I've never have been able to. I don't hear the whatever it is that you're supposed to hear. So I move my feet and people laugh because apparently it's wrong. To me, I'm doing it the same as everybody else. Maybe not as elegantly or as nimbly, but it's the same if you ask me, but apparently not. But there's this dance, you know, very impressive. It's amazing how people do that dance. This dog. And I am just fascinated by this obsession with Vladimir Putin as the great hero to all of these youngsters around the globe. And it's not Africans and Asians who are lionizing him, Middle Eastern people. It's Caucasians. These videos conspicuously, there may be some exceptions, but as far as I'm concerned, to the 99th percentile, it's Europeans and North Americans making these videos. Given who they feature, given the stereotypes in the videos. This man that's supposed to be so hated by the West, about whom nobody must say anything. He's the worst. You'll get cancelled. You'll get deleted. They've found a way around it. YouTube's is plastered with these things. Plastered. I've seen probably 150 over the past year and some change, maybe more. And I doubt that 10 have been duplicates. But let's say 20. And there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. These kids doing these dances. Fantastic dancing. Very clever. I don't know how. I used to work in an industry where we dealt a lot with dancers. And they made me sick. Not because they were prima donnas or, you know, because they were not conservative and, you know, the clothes they wore and the moves that they made. Oh, that I thought was not good, but I just thought the dancing was it was banal. You know, we would have dances for big launches and openings and marketing campaigns, and I just thought that what I was watching was banal. People making random moves, random in my opinion. So I'm not somebody who's impressed by dancing. Not to say not somebody who's easily impressed by dancing. I'm not somebody who is impressed by dancing. But yes, this is impressive. Anyway, I just thought that was worth talking about, this phenomenon of this man that is supposedly so bad and so hated. But all these youngsters are fanatically posting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos that lionize him. And I'm not a Putin fan. I don't speak as a Putin fan. I have stood up for Vladimir Putin and for Russia and the special military operation and the invasion and the all-out war and you name it on scores of occasions because the counter-narrative, the narrative that is mainstream, is utterly false. For me, it's about telling the truth. It's not to say that I think that Vladimir Putin is as pure as the driven snow. You can forget that. Do some reading. Really. Do some reading. And as far as I'm concerned, the biblical things, and this is, Mr. Miller and I agree on this. Mr. Miller's not saying these are the goodies. He's saying this is what the Bible says about these people's role. And he's counterpointing it with when he talks about the people who live in the high places, this and that. There's a counterpoint. And there will be more counterpoints that emerge or are emerging or have emerged in Mr. Miller's sermons, daily sermons on Radio Groot Rivier, one in the morning, one in the evening. Because there are more in this cast of characters. It's not about good or bad. It's about saying what does the Bible say about this. And I come up for him all of the time because if I was a Russian leader, good, bad, or ugly, and there were a dozen biological laboratories that had been erected in recent years on my border in Ukraine with NATO, EU, and US money, including and especially US military money. And if the events of 2014 were detrimental to my security interests, and if the USA and NATO had broken their promise not to expand NATO eastward so many times, and if the speech in 2007, again, I urge you, if you are somebody who is contemplating the events in Ukraine and you have not watched Vladimir Putin's speech to the Munich Security Council in 2007, you are doing yourself a disservice. It means that you lack the foundational knowledge or the foundational scenes of this play. It's like you walked into the theater really half an hour late, not 10 minutes. It's key. So yeah, I just think this is a very, very interesting phenomenon. And it's interesting to see what's going to happen next. Fantastic things. I mean, we've got the BRICS stuff. We've got the BRICS meeting now. Then we've got the one in August. We've got all of the talk, the leaks about the CBDC, the BRICS currency. And I'm going to make a video shortly about how a few days ago, I beg your pardon, I'm starving hungry and I hiccup when I get hungry. How the International Monetary Fund, the launch of this new coin, this digital coin. So yeah, who knows what's going to happen next. I'd be fascinated to know, or I am fascinated to know, how many Westerners have joined up to the Russian army as opposed to the Ukrainian. When that figure comes out, I have a strong suspicion that it's a fact that the West is desperate to remain concealed. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Goodbye and God bless you.